it meant anything goes. Anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could die. Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it. People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, where we talk about bad comic books because we do it to ourselves, and that's what really hurts.
We shot ourselves, shot in the balls.
We are just endlessly walking on rakes in the Age of Apocalypse universe. This is X-Men Chronicles, which are 2 issues. Just a heads up, I accidentally only read the second one, so don't really care to read the first one either because the second one was so bad. So we're just going to kind of breezily talk about some things that were happening before the Age of Apocalypse kind of started. So this is a prequel to this universe as we were introduced to it.
Yeah. These kind of answer some questions. A little bit about the history. There's also, when I was looking these up, I forgot there's 2 comics that came out in 97 called Tales from the Age of Apocalypse that do the same thing. They're just like early stories. I remember reading those because they were part of the big hardcovers, and they're bad. Like one of them is like what happened to Corsair. You know, it tells the story of Cyclops and Alex showing up, and then the other one is like Magneto fighting the Absorbing Man for some reason.
Excellent, really good.
Yeah. But the notable thing about those, and they're horrible, like they're really bad comics, is that it's Brian K. Vaughan's first work.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
that's kind of neat. He did the dialogue of the one with Corsair, and it's really bad dialogue. Like it's not a good comic.
Yeah.
These kind of do the same thing. These are written by Howard Mackey, who is a real Hall of Shame writer for me. Wrote the series Mutant X.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Which is an alternate reality series that was really bad that I read a lot of.
And these are also really bad.
We're just gonna basically talk about what happens in them and why they're bad rather than go page by page.
Yes.
Through them. But the way that they're bad is really going through. It's really insidious. So like the art is kind of attractive in parts. It's Dotson's. And it is neat to see, like, you know, so the first issue is Magneto with his first team of X-Men before they've gone and done any training in the field.
Yes.
They're at Wundagore Mountain with Quicksilver's weird cow aunt and just kind of having, goofs and japes in the killing zone.
Hell yeah.
Which is what they call the danger room.
Hell yeah. Everything is extreme in this universe, Gary. That's the trick.
I love the red and yellow costumes.
I do too. That's the first thing that got my attention as I was skimming through is these like kind of bright red and yellow. We don't really see this kind of thing, and like comparatively to the rest of the series, like these are so tame. Like I really like. What do you think was the moment that they were like, "God, we got to get fucking crazy with belts and spikes"? Like if we're gonna have any chance of taking down Apocalypse, we have got to get fucking crazy.
To bedazzle this shit.
Yeah.
They're fighting robots because the killing zone uses robots instead of Shi'ar tech. Magneto pumps up the volume on the thing and then introduces Wolverine, his brand new recruit. So this is the story of how Wolverine joined as Weapon X, and the Wolverine characterization is super shitty in this, and they're constantly talking about his berserker rages. Like everyone, like it's just like he's going berserk. He's going through a berserker rage, and then Magneto's like, our friend's susceptible to berserker rages. They are the source of his strength and his bane. It's just really dumb. Jean Grey tries to get into it. He's like hitting on Jean Grey
immediately,
really hard, and it's real gross because she's super young. During this, like, there's a weird low key December, June romance thing throughout this whole issue.
Do not like.
It's
Eric.
real gross.
Do not like this.
Do not like.
Um,
Do not like. Where Mystique delivers Rogue to Magneto.
Yeah. Totally cool.
And yeah, just here you are. Mystique said you'd help me learn my powers, and Mystique takes off. And then Mystique says, Magneto's a good man. He's a dreamer. You have to be stronger than that. Take care of him.
Yeah.
And then in the next issue, that morphs into her deciding to phone him.
She's literally giving her the fancy speech. Here's your one chance, Fancy. Don't let me down. That's Magneto. Go with him to the car, Fancy. I got your pretty, green uniform on.
Yeah.
Right?
And she's explicitly very young. In this universe, for some reason, Rogue is as old as Iceman. Iceman's the youngest person. And Rogue is like, cool, my age. And she's a total fox. I'm Iceman. I'm a babe and I'd hit that. And then, so she's extra young in this, younger than she is in the 616. It also starts the...
Go ahead.
Or go ahead.
I was going to say, did you see that tweet going around about Spielberg and Lucas talking about Indiana Jones and the love interest from, I want to say it was, I can't remember exactly which Indiana Jones movie, but how they were like, yeah, like he would have been her teacher like when she was 13 or 14. Like they would have had like a weird relationship where it was like, is this okay? And it wouldn't work if she was 15. And they're like, oh yeah, no, definitely not 15, definitely not 15. And I'm like, wow, Jesus Christ, y'all, this is gross.
Yeah, I missed that, but I can imagine it.
Yeah.
This is also starting the thing of like X-Men Chronicles not showing us the stuff we want to see, because before this even happened is when all the stuff with Polaris happened, where Rogue got her power. Like you'd think that they would fold that into this somehow, and they could have really easily by having Polaris be part of the attack.
Yeah.
That happens later, or having her be one of the Horsemen, but instead it just happened off panel.
Man, I'm skimming through as we're going through, and just like the weird, like I'm about to touch your face and then saying we are family and then hugging what is obviously a super young Rogue to his chest. Like
he's gonna put a fucking baby in her, dude.
Dude, this is real gross. Like in modern, it was real gross back then, but in a modern context, especially, like wow, this is not good.
Yeah, it's super fucking weird, man. We cut over to the 5 Horsemen of Apocalypse.
Nailed it. One to spare.
Gideon, Kandra, War, Death, and also Sabretooth. War is just War. He's just the normal 616 War. Gideon and Kandra are like shitty externals.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know who Death is supposed to be in this.
She got boobs.
She's got real big ass boobs though.
Yeah.
And in kind of signaling or shadowing X-Men #1, they're attacking a military base to get some missiles, which is what Magneto did.
I also, a thing that I like about this, just kind of in one degree, is just like how fancy this X-Men base is too. Like everything is really, really nice. There's like a lecture hall, you know what I'm saying? There's like black and white checkered hallways, statues of Xavier. Like Magneto kind of did this right.
It's a Dark Souls level. Like you just keep going past these statues of Xavier.
Who the fuck is this guy? We're gonna have to fight him as a boss later.
They eventually do explain who Xavier is to Rogue. And then Rogue is bonding with Scarlet Witch, because that has to happen for some stuff that happens later. They go off to do their first mission to stop the nuclear base. We get some stuff with the Horsemen going in and fighting. And the big twist here is once they get there, once Gideon starts trying to launch the missiles, Sabretooth didn't think they were actually going to launch them. He just thought they were going to take control over them, but not do anything with them. Sure.
Yeah.
That's so fucking dumb. And then while the X-Men are going and doing this, it's Apocalypse's 6th Horseman and son, Nemesis, who becomes Holocaust, but now he's just a blonde guy coming to attack Xavier, Magneto's mansion while he's gone doing stuff.
Why are we dealing with any of this stuff? Who cares?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So Rogue and Scarlet Witch try to fight off Nemesis. Scarlet Witch manages to scar him.
Dope.
So he's like, you'll suffer for this. Then we cut away though, because we're not going to see that fight. We had to cut over to Sabretooth being shocked that they're going to shoot missiles that Apocalypse wanted to blow anything up. The X-Men show up. Sabretooth tries to get back on the good side of the bad guys by giving them direction, and Wolverine cuts his spine in half.
Hell yeah.
Which is, that part's good. They fight, they stop the missiles. Cool. And then, however, at what cost? Because what happens when they go back? Scarlet Witch is super dead.
Oh.
And that's the end.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, what a bummer. X-Men Chronicles 2 is fucking mind-boggling because this isn't it's about how Wolverine quit, but also about another guy named Wolverine.
Yeah, dude. So
who's also there.
So they specifically introduced Logan as either Logan or Weapon X, like in Chronicles 1. So when they start talking about Wolverine in this comic book, I was like, wait a minute. But they don't ever actually call him Wolverine in the Age of Apocalypse, I guess. Like that's never a thing that's happened. So it's really fucking weird that they would have like a Logan lookalike, like a fucking Bizarro Logan, right? That's super evil and also not extremely great at his job. Like he's gonna die pretty quick.
It's not that Wolverine is such a cool name that somebody has to take it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Fair. Counterpoint. That was a test you passed. But it just ends up making reading this really confusing. Because everyone's talking about Wolverine, but it's this guy with this really unfortunate facial hair who turns humans into monsters. And this scene where Wolverine and Jean Grey are quitting, they're talking about the mission where Jean Grey was left behind, and they Wolverine saved her, which I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like nothing ends up being on camera in this fucking series.
We even saw they did some art. We saw a flashback of this of just like Cyclops and him fighting. But I wanted to kind of see give me the heist movie where Jean Grey is the McGuffin. Like I'm into that.
Yeah.
She's been the McGuffin so many times before. Why not here?
Why not here? So now all the X-Men are now in their extreme uniforms. Gambit is joined. Sabretooth is joined at this point. But Jean Grey and Wolverine are quitting. Wolverine's super mad.
Yes.
Our Wolverine. Good Wolverine.
Logan is super mad. Meanwhile, like Magneto's going to be pretty upset about this, as obviously like you get upset about like your team breaking up. And Rogue is like, Magneto needs me. And Gambit is basically taking every opportunity to be like, no, he's good. You don't got to go talk to him. Come talk to me. Every single opportunity. And the comic book, like on the cover of this issue is like, and a love triangle between Magneto and Rogue and Gambit. And I'm like, I guess it's a love triangle. Like she's just kind of seems like she's confused about everything in life. And y'all seem too horny is what's happening.
It's like a love greater than sign.
Yeah.
It's not, the triangle is not complete here. At this point, it's real weird, and we had seen earlier that Magneto used to be Gambit's best friend. Mm-hmm. I love that at no point of this does Magneto act like he even likes Gambit.
Nope, not a single time.
Like that's very sad. It makes you think like Gambit's like, yeah, we're best friends. Like Magneto's like, yeah, he seems nice.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, he doesn't seem so bad.
He's also. I am definitely his best friend. Yes, agreed.
Yeah. It's so sad. Also off camera was when Nemesis turned into Holocaust, because now he's the big like skeleton monster, and they talk about Magneto doing it to him, but we don't know what he did or what really happened.
He's the one that hurt you so bad and made you wear that life support armor, but like we don't. Why? What happened? Where did the armor come from? I have so many questions.
Why are we not seeing that, and instead seeing this Wolverine who has facial hair like he's a carp? Or like a catfish. Yeah. And then
I turned into this guy in Sekiro last year, so we're good.
Like, this guy is definitely eating the truly precious bait, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean, friend. I know what you mean.
What size is this guy? Like, look at this panel where he's crushing a human.
Yeah,
in his
I wanted
hand.
to bring this up because he has to be. I mean, like if this dude, like, let's be conservative and say this dude is 5 foot tall. That makes this dude like 40 foot tall, right? Like easy.
Yeah. And in the next panel, he's like maybe 6 inches taller than Holocaust. It's so weird. The humans try to fight back. This is a huge Mary Sue, like this guy. I don't know if this is a guy from the 616, but Howard Mackey really wants us to think this guy's a badass because he's constantly just killing people for annoying him. Mm-hmm. It happens like 4 times in this book.
That's what
where
the
he just
cool
snaps
the
people's
cool
necks.
people do, my man. Holocaust, by the way, is wanting this dude to go find Magneto and kill something that he loves. And
Yes.
the next,
Like I loved my skin.
yes, like I used to,
Like I loved wearing my favorite T-shirt before I couldn't anymore.
like I used to love my ability to have normal food, not through a tube.
Yeah. Like, I want you to kill somebody who loves Magneto like I used to love Fresca.
Like I used to love my ponytail.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the X-Men are doing like normal X-Men shit, right? Like they're just fighting off
Yeah.
some people who were like taking advantage of humans. Like they're just like protecting the innocent or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know these like I don't know what they're called, like not barbarians. What are they calling them?
I can't remember. They're just like raiders.
Yeah,
It's
bandits.
very Fallout.
Bandits is the word I was
Bandits,
looking for.
yeah.
So, and they're all like, "Oh shit, the X-Men! Like, we probably can't run, but I guess we'll fight, and that's not going to really do anything either."
Yeah.
But it's like
Did you
straight up
see how,
X-Men mission.
How Gambit gets around
Oh yeah.
in this universe?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Rogue carries his staff and
Mhm.
he does a pull up on it,
Yep.
flying through the air.
hmm
It looks incredibly awkward and ergonomically unsustainable.
Meanwhile, both of them are
Uh,
watching Jesus Magneto fly through the air with his arms outstretched.
And they only have one conversation during this. Like every single time we cut in on Gambit and Rogue is like, Gambit, Magneto needs our help. And Gambit's like, he don't need nothing. So they go forward, they fight. It seems like they should just win automatically. But it takes a little while. Until eventually shitty Wolverine exhibits his power, which is grabbing the heads of humans and making them berserkers,
Yes,
like making them stronger and fight, faster and angrier.
definitely feels like a leveled up Diablo power here. Like I have converted these people against you. Now I have 10 of them.
Yeah, he's a necromancer. While this happens, one of them throws a plastic blade that stabs Magneto in the back.
Yes.
So Gambit calls off the mission. Magneto says they should not retreat, but they retreat against these people.
Yep.
And this allows shitty Wolverine to see, like, oh no, the person closest to Magneto is not Quicksilver. It's actually Rogue or Gambit.
Because he understands human relationships so well.
Yeah.
They're yelling at each other. Does that mean that they're my parents? I mean that they're friendly?
Yes. Magneto's recovering. He's all mad that he got taken out of the fight. Gambit tells Rogue he needs to talk to her about something serious. We go back to shitty Wolverine, who's killing people to show that he's serious. They're going to assault the mansion or whatever. Gambit talks to Iceman, and it's just like, I can't help it. I don't care that I can't touch her. She makes me feel crazy. I got to tell her how I feel. And he's going to go do it. But at the same time, Magneto is talking to Rogue, and like they're kind of romancing out.
Yes.
There's some tension there.
And all of this is garbage in my mind. Like especially like Iceman being like, "Oh, you fell for someone? I can't believe that. Like you used to be my guy for falling in love or for getting the chicks." And I'm like,
dating advice. Yeah.
Don't like any of
What
this.
what chicks?
What chicks?
What are you talking about?
You're an
X-Men?
apocalypse. Like, what?
Do you mean Storm? Hey, she's right there, dude.
Yeah. Also, Scarlet Witch died, which reduced like all of your chances for anything by 25%.
Yeah.
So.
The female population of this team sunk 30%, dude.
Oh, dude! Actually, Scarlet Witch and then Jean Grey left. Man, we're at like 60% of what you're
sausage
available.
X-Men, dude. Yeah, the X sausages. There's also a continuity error in this that's really frustrating to me. That shows that Howard Mackie is a bad writer and the editor fucked up. Because in this comic, Quicksilver and Storm are implied to be lovers already.
Yes, I saw that too, and I was really curious about that. Like, it didn't make any sense.
All of the Amazing X-Men stuff was all about them not telling each other their feelings for each other. So it felt like Howard Mackie read that but didn't understand it. Really frustrating.
So Rogue and Magneto have this conversation of like, Magneto is super. He's upset because basically, Jean and Logan left. But he's kind of like, the way he's presenting that is wearing a robe without a shirt underneath it and just being real sad. Like the Smiths are playing in the background, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it totally works.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, Rogue goes and talks to Quicksilver for a second, and Quicksilver basically gives her the blessing to pursue his father. That's the subtext.
Yes.
He doesn't actually say that, but it's just very like, we'd approve. I'm sure my sister would approve of all you're doing for our father.
Including the blowies.
Fucking weird, man. Gambit pops in, is like, oh, Quicksilver.
Did somebody say blowies?
Did somebody say blowies? Disc agent gonna present. He pops up and he just like, this is so awkward. He's like, I'm ready for a commitment. We'll learn how to deal with your powers. And she runs off crying, saying, I'm sorry. And Gambit acts as if he hasn't had this happen before and doesn't know what that means. And Quicksilver, who knows that Magneto and Rogue are together, is like, I think you need to have a talk with my father soon. And Gambit's like, okay,
sure,
I do it, but then I talk to Rogue again.
Magneto will help me.
Yeah, that's literally what he thinks. This is classic, like, stupidest Gambit in the universe.
Dude, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
And, Magneto, who just had a fucking hole put through his body by a spear, is out doing training. So we got we got Colossus and Sabretooth and Storm out there, and he's like, don't give me no quarter. And when Gambit shows up, he's like, hey, yo, what's up? And Magneto is like, fuck off. Get out of here.
Yeah, like, we're training, you piece of shit. Shitty Wolverine comes up. He kills another person casually to show that he's serious.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating because the reason he does it is because he tried to attack. He's like, no, you'll listen to my plan. The plan is just to attack.
Yeah, that's it.
It
just wasn't right then.
Yeah. The training session ends so Magneto can talk to Gambit. And Magneto is, again, like, not showing him any affection. Just like, can we do this another time? He's like, I'll make it quick. I have these feelings for Rogue. And Magneto's like, I don't know. This isn't a great time.
Do you have some sort of magnetic powers that would let you touch her? Or is that me?
I do. Yeah, I just found this out and I'm planning on making my move tonight, brother.
Unfortunately, she was already 15 when I found this power out, so, it's not going to be as good as it would have been, but...
Like, don't worry, she's of childbearing age, Remy. So
when there's a magnetic force on the field, right? Play ball.
There's grass on the magnetic field. It's time to play.
Comic books, grow up. I know you're in the 90s right now, but grow up. You're better. Be better.
Rogue shows up and Gambit, of course, is like super clueless. He's like, okay, but we talk later. And then he leaves. And this is where Magneto reveals that he can touch her by creating an electromagnetic shield around the body. Holds her hand and holds her face. She's crying, and Gambit goes into a rage seeing this.
Yeah.
And calls Magneto a traitorous dog in a real gross, like, owning a woman kind of way. Like, nobody's coming off really well, during this.
Yeah. I mean, Rogue is. Like, Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue didn't.
Rogue seems like she's doing all right because Gambit is like, just because you gave Wanda your vow to look after the old man doesn't mean you have to. And he just slaps him across the face like, you shut the fuck up, Cajun.
Yeah. This is none of your, yes, that is exactly what's happening, but you're against this for totally wrong reasons.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, so the shitheads attack. There, Gambit's like, you're gonna have to choose Rogue real soon, dude. My dude, you got to take the hit.
Yeah,
this is getting painful.
this is getting bad.
Yeah, this is just sad. So you're saying there's a chance.
So Wolverine shows up, the bad one, and there's a whole lot of fighting, including like Magneto getting slashed in the back, Gambit getting smashed in the front, and then they do a thing where like they get cornered, Magneto and Gambit and Rogue, and I love this, like, just from a writer's perspective of like, how do we make her choose? she just flies off with Magneto like, later, homie. It's so fucking good. Like, imagine being Gambit right now. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. I've had a rough day.
Like, you are not going to believe what happened to me today, boys.
Yeah. And shitty Wolverine is just like, looks like the lady has made her decision, lover boy. You lose, and then throws a bunch of bricks on top of him.
I've never liked this shitty Wolverine more when he's just dragging Gambit for not getting chosen by a girl. And then
the rest of the X-Men come and fight shitty Wolverine, and it literally turns into a cartoon dust cloud.
There's 42 pages in this comic book, and they dedicated 3 panels to the X-Men fighting this weird Wolverine guy. And it's exactly what you described. Like, it's just a dust cloud. It's fucking wild, dude.
It's so dumb. He gets out, though. He escapes because this Wolverine, they're really trying to sell us on Carp Wolverine.
Yeah.
He comes out, he's cornering Rogue, and he's gonna fight her. Rogue's like, I have to go back and save Gambit. Gambit, though, stabs him with a telekinetically charged something and puts it under his belt, which is his one weakness.
Yeah. He doesn't have a cod
There's
piece.
a line here. Yeah, he's like, you see that rock there that's glowing? And since it's bigger than what I'm used to, so it's not like a huge rock or anything. It's just slightly bigger than what he usually charges up.
just a little bit.
Then he ninja kicks this 40-foot tall dude off the mountain who explodes in the air. Like, what the fuck? Dude. And then the comic ends.
Is the implication here that like he kicks him at the same time this thing explodes, so like the dude gets like rocketed into the air, and it's not just
like
a
Smash
kick?
Brothers?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've never played one of those, but you sure you're the video game guy, so tell me what happens.
Yeah.
Tell me what happens in
I am
Smash
the video
Brothers.
game guy. Mr. wakes up at 4 a.m. to play video games. That's what happens. He did a final smash.
Did a final smash. Gambit leaves.
It's so dumb.
He walks off to the Hulk music, which is really weird for a comic book to put in, but
yeah, there's a little authenticator chip that plays it.
Yeah, and that's Chronicles. That's us caught up with what happened right before Apocalypse started getting real bad.
Yeah, what like this answered no questions that I wanted answered at all. Like it references 2 events that are supposed to be very important to the founding of the X-Men. Or 3 events, like, Weapon X and Jean Grey leaving, Gambit leaving, and Scarlet Witch dying, and could not have made them lamer.
Yeah. And even like, because we asked, I think, on the podcast of like, where did Rogue get these powers? And someone, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or in the Slack, was like,
it was on Slack, it was Chris.
Yeah, it was, it's Polaris. And I was like, oh, well, that's weird and interesting. What's happening? But like every single time I think to myself, I wonder how this happened in Age of Apocalypse. The answer is either not there or just bad. Like it just keeps giving me the answers I don't actually need for some reason.
It just feels like they were really tapped or something. Like we cannot actually put our A game on this shit. This backstory stuff. We have to wrap up. Yeah. Very, very frustrating. Really dumb comic. I'm glad it's over.
Me
I never
too.
had to think about it again.
Yeah, I will forget having read this. Like unless somebody asks me on Twitter about it, and then I'll be like, "What? What are you talking about? I've already forgotten it."
Yeah, and then you'll still forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. So. But what you shouldn't forget is going to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and give us some cash to support the network. You can get access to the Slack channel where you can chat about comic books or action figures. You can also get episodes of this podcast and all the podcasts early if you want to. And there's just a shitload of exclusive content on that Patreon feed. So go check all of that out. Tell your friends, leave reviews, do all of that good stuff. Follow us on Twitter. That's fun. I'm at JG Greer. That's at Gary Buh, BUH. Do all that stuff. We love you. Be safe and bye.
Good night.